Hi guys, this is Bob the Veil Guy. I have a very special guest with us today to give us a sneak peek of a very exciting product that Escort's going to be introducing very shortly, called the Escort Max 360. I'd like to introduce you to Ron Jiven. Ron, it's great to have you. Thanks for coming over. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the new Max. We're all very excited about this detector.
Bob, thank you very much for having Escort in front of your viewers, and thank all of you for watching. Yeah, if you're a car aficionado, and all of you guys, and especially you, we all are, I think so, and you like products that help you perform, you like products that are going to keep you on the road, and specifically in the area of radar detection, radar and laser detection protection, you want something that is precise, something that is accurate, something that does not annoy you with lots of false alerts. Our viewers understand what those are about in the radar detector category. You come to Escort, and the great news is we're wildly excited to be able to take power, precision, and 360-degree protection and put that in a new package, the Escort Max 360. Now you can see the case right there, but how does that look? The Escort Max 360. And what is key with this product, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that in, but it's not lit right now. We're going to fire that up in just a second. But we have 360-degree directional arrows. And how are we able to do that? Well, we talk about the power. The platforms that Escort has, we have already proved ourselves in the industry with respect to long-range detection performance. The power is in here. Precision. We have the GPS location awareness chipset. So our Passport Max and now the Escort Max 360 radar detector will alert you to red light cameras, speed traps, and more, and has the ability to identify, analyze, and then lock out false alerts. So the detector is precise. When the Escort Max 360 alerts, you know it's a real threat. But the great news is, now with the directional arrows, we're going to point to the location of the source from in front of you, closing, from behind you, and approaching and encroaching on you. You're going to see all that activity in the display, and we're going to take this out for a spin so that you can see this in action. But the detector is able to do that because of the unique design of the Escort Max 360. It is a dual antenna platform. That's right, two detectors in one. We have a forward-facing, front up-the-road sensing antenna, and a rear-facing, back behind, coming from behind antenna. So now with the dual antennas, we're completely covered in both directions, can feed information into the digital signal processing unit, and so show that up in the arrows and let you know if they're coming from ahead, coming from behind, and in fact how many sources. We're the only guys to show the absolute specific frequency. We'll count the number of sources, and the arrow arrangement is such that you'll be able to identify a primary source, a secondary source, approaching, receding, and if, oh by the way, another source comes on scene, we're going to immediately alert, flash the arrow on top of everything else that's going on. You're going to be in the know. Right. How does all that sound?
That sounds great, and a little bit that we've already taken and drive a little bit to introduce me to it. I see that you have the arrows are actually different colors for the bands, which is extremely nice because just in a brief look, you get the glance, you get the alert, you look over, you're going to get the different colors so you know exactly what band it is without even actually having to spend time looking at the screen to really see. So that's more time looking on the road, reacting to what you're actually going to be experiencing. So I like that for sure.
That is exactly correct, Bob. Thank you for mentioning that because that is a key element. Here's a frozen screenshot of the display. A little bit hard to see here. Let me switch cameras. I think we're coming into view. So that's a frozen screenshot, but what you're going to have is with the arrow, you're going to have a dual signal strength meter that's going to show the primary signal approaching and then the secondary signal receding, and we'll run that demonstration in just a second. But before we hit the road, let me also bring you up to speed on some of the other features. We again have the front and rear laser. It has a new magnet mount, so now when we slide this up on the windshield, it slides onto the tongue. You don't have to depress any buttons, you're not pushing anything. Easy on, easy off. You can take this with you and travel. I think we've got some folks behind us getting ready to go on a trip. You can take this easily with you. That's available. And in the preference settings, as our previous as the audience knows from previous detectors, in the Passport Max, in the Escort Max 360, we allow you to change the display color to 4 different backgrounds: blue, red, amber, and green. Can we light up some display demos and show those off?
Oh, by all means. And I just want to make a quick observation, because we're familiar with obviously the Max and the Max 2, which, you know, preceded these detectors. Looks like your display is more visible and easier to identify, and it actually looks like it's a little bit more offset inside the detector, which is going to keep that light out. So I can already see that you guys have definitely addressed making this more viewable in greater lighting conditions. I look forward to seeing that when we're on the road.
It is a very intuitive display. So this is a very cool unit right here, Bob. This is one of our engineering development units. And so I was able to get this, and while we're sitting here, because sometimes it's just so difficult to be able to capture real world scenarios in a timely fashion, I brought this along so that I can show off a couple of demos. Now in this first demonstration, we're going to see the arrow light.
Is that a blue color?
That's a blue color. It's kind of hard to see in there, but you can see the signal strength meter rising in the primary left-hand side of the meter, the arrow. Now when the signal strength meter fills up, the 2 arrows side-to-side light, and then the receding, where the rear signal strength meter begins to light, and then as it falls off, the rear arrow comes on. Let's do that one more time.
Now, I did have to observe here. I saw that they were blue, but then it went to red. So
yeah, so watch this. So in this particular mode, here she comes. She's driving up. There's the arrow. She announces K-band. Notice the approaching signal strength meter rises. Now she closes on us. We're right on top of her. The rear picks up. The side-to-side arrow's light. She passes by, and now the rear arrow, which is the secondary source. What does that mean?
I see.
It means in this scenario right now, if another source came on scene, that would come on top, it would be blue, and it would be flashing. So in my mind, that's a little bit intuitive. Let's do one where we're receding. This is coming from behind. There you go.
It's KA. I can tell that.
So it's coming from the rear. Red is the rear in this case. She starts in the meter on the opposite side because she's closing from behind. Now she comes by the side. Both meters are filled, and then she passes by in front of us. We probably have made visual observation of her, and we see her pass by. But in either case, either scenario, you had such an intuitive picture of everything taking place at a glance. Oh yeah, she still talks to you, so you can keep your eyes down the road. But if you do happen to look up, remember, we're also the only guys to put your vehicle speed right up in front.
Caution.
Right up in front.
Red light camera ahead.
So you see your vehicle speed at the same time. Now, this is the red light camera scenario. You've done some segments and conversations on this as well.
Red light
So
camera.
I think everybody understands that we'll alert and let you know. That's when we talk about how precise the detector is. We're going to see all the guns, all the threats, including the ability to precisely locate and identify a red light camera, speed trap, whatever may be waiting for you up ahead.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because I notice here, why is this a bubble for this as opposed to flat? What does that serve?
You know, I don't want to speak for the engineers, but I believe more than anything else, aesthetically, it's incredibly appealing. I think when the arrows are lit, now it's hard to see here in the sunlight, but when the arrows are lit, it helps to identify and bring those forward. I think it's all a presentation, easier for us to observe, easier for the driver to see at a glance.
Okay.
When I look at that, I know they're ahead or I know from behind. Signal strength meter, again, incredibly intuitive. And then one final feature we want to make sure to let everyone know, just like before, we're still able to connect to the internet, so you keep the database updated, future software updates, etc. But the detector also has a Bluetooth chipset built in, which means it's going to tie right to your phone to the Escort Live app. And so now everyone else that's on the road with the Escort and Beltronics radar detectors, they're all putting information in the cloud.
Yes.
Not the drivers. The detectors do it automatically. That information comes back down to you via the Escort Live app. Bluetooth built in. You're going to see everything. Added protection. You're not going to be surprised.
Okay. Can I make a comment here? Just for the sake of the viewers here, I just want to give you, since we don't really have anything to
Can
scale.
we hold this one up here?
Oh yeah, that would be better. Fine. Thank you.
Let's hold it.
Yep. Here we go. And then you can just get an idea here in my hand. I'm just trying to give you some scale here. So actually, it's thinner than I would thought it would be, given
for a dual
all
antenna receiver. I think the engineers did a fantastic job.
Can I ask you something? You know how I tend to be technical, as you are.
Yes.
Generally, when you do a dual antenna design, I believe the more sensitive detectors on the front facing, and you do a little bit less sensitive, so you're not getting hammered by picking so much up from the front as well as the back. Does that help with the directional?
There's no question for the viewers and the audience from their own driving experience. Absolutely, a majority of everything tends to take place ahead of us. Why? That's what we're approaching. We're approaching this direction. We don't drive in reverse. The antenna in the front is set up to be a little bit more sensitive, but as to what level, what degree, I would just tell you this, that you're not going to miss anything from the rear because both antennas are more sensitive than anything else on the marketplace. This was already the range winner in the previous platforms with the Passport Max, the Passport Max 2. So we had long distance range. Now take two antenna, put them together, our overall sensitivity floor just rose. I don't mean the noise floor, the sensitivity, the ability to see farther, sooner, faster, earlier from all directions has now been enhanced.
Right, and you know how big of a fan I am of also being quick.
It is.
So I assume you're getting the best of both worlds, and that you're shooting for being very quick, sensitive, and also filtering out, so you're not getting punished.
Absolutely.
By having both of those. This is a tough balancing act.
Absolutely.
Very tough balancing act.
So this is in 2-in-1. This is the fastest, farthest detector on the planet, and it is the quietest platform on the planet to reject all those other door openers, all those other bank alarms, motion sensors, any XK, KA band transmitters, all are going to be rejected. And now that leads us to the next level. We're beginning the approach to talk about and reject mobile false
That's what I'm glad
sources.
you're talking about them. They're obnoxious systems. So
there are vehicles that have the collision avoidance, blind spot monitoring, lane assist, etc. Different technologies, but many of those are X and K band based. This radar detector, the software, the digital signal processing, the high-powered algorithms are beginning to work on truly identifying and then eliminating those sources as well.
The detectors in the past, as I understand this, when we encountered these mobile systems, these lane departure and what do you call them, adaptive cruise control systems that were K-band based, oftentimes, the older older products, I want to say less sophisticated than this, tended to rely on slowing down the response to K-band and things along those lines. Now in Pennsylvania, where I live, K-band is all they use here, and it's always I/O, and in fact now they're going to low power. So you got to be very careful, obviously, balancing that act of rejection of those types of things.
We're not rejecting by reducing sensitivity.
Delay.
There are sensitivity modes in the detector that you can set.
Right.
But if you open this up or leave it in auto, which is where we suggest that you drive with it, the detector, remember, this is an intelligent detector. Other detectors don't operate at all near this level. The intelligence level of the detector to have true digital signal processing and a GPS location awareness chipset, the detector knows where we are right now.
Okay.
The detector knows we're not moving. If we leave here and get out on the 95 and open her wide up in this nice vehicle that you've got, the detector knows that.
Okay.
And as it knows that, it begins to open up the sensitivity. Now, in rejecting false alert sources, we already have talked about auto learn in the past. You've done a great job writing that up. That's still built in. But now the new technology allows us to begin to identify these mobile alert sources and reject them as well. We're not doing that by reducing sensitivity.
Well,
we do that by true digital signal
So you're actually
processing.
looking at it and saying this is coming from that.
True analog view, an analog sweep. We digitally flash that image. Now it's in the digital domain. We truly digitally signal process that picture with high-powered algorithms, and we identify absolutely if that's a mobile source.
If it really pans out, it's going to be a spectacular advance, because those systems, as you know,
when I drive with my Max 360, it is incredibly quiet. It is incredibly intuitive, and the range, I am never surprised. I am never surprised.
Okay. Hey.
So here's what I think. I think we ought to maybe take a ride, or let you do a review.
Oh yeah, by all means. These are
your unit.
It's a bold. These are bold.
Bob's unit is in the mail.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be looking forward to really putting this puppy out and getting a thorough review and look at it in the real world. As you know, that's what I love to do, obviously. And I'm really looking forward to this. An Escort. I congratulate you for taking the bar to it. You continue to innovate, and just when you think you've reached the plateau, it's like you can't get any better than this. You wizards figure out a way to take it to the next level. So
Our engineers are the best. Thank you very much, Bob. EscortRadar.com. Stop by and have a look.